If debt is dangerous, why does the entire world run on it? Every few months, you hear warnings. The US debt has hit another record high. Japan's debt to GDP is unsustainable. China's economy is slowing because of rising debt. And yet, the world doesn't collapse. Governments keep borrowing, markets keep growing, people keep spending. So, if debt is so destructive, why does almost every country on earth live in it? Maybe debt isn't the villain we think it is. Maybe it's the oxygen the system breathes. And maybe understanding why that is can change how you see your own financial life forever. Chapter 1: Why We Fear Debt. Most people think of debt as danger, a hole you fall into, something to be avoided at all costs. That's because we were taught to see money like morality. Saving equals virtue, debt equals failure. And that idea works fine at a personal level. If you're bad at managing money, debt can destroy you. But here's the truth: governments, banks, and corporations play a completely different game. They use debt not as a burden, but as a tool of creation. Chapter 2: How the World Creates Money Through Debt. Here's how it really works. When the government needs money, it doesn't find it. It creates it by issuing bonds. Those bonds are just promises. We'll pay you later with interest. Banks, institutions, and even you, through your savings or retirement funds, buy those bonds. The government then takes that borrowed money and spends it on salaries, roads, defense, education. That spending becomes someone's income. That income gets taxed, and that tax is used to pay interest on the same bonds you just bought. It's a closed loop, a self sustaining cycle of promises that keeps the economy breathing. In other words, money doesn't exist until someone goes into debt. Your paycheck, it came from government spending. Your savings, backed by someone else's borrowing. The economy only grows when credit expands. Debt isn't the system's flaw, it is the system. Chapter 3: The Debt Ceiling Drama: Why It's Mostly Theater. Every few years, you hear it again. The US is hitting the debt ceiling. Markets panic, politicians argue, and the public thinks collapse is near. But the debt ceiling isn't an economic limit, it's a political one. Since 1960, the US has raised it more than 78 times. Each time, the same drama unfolds, then quietly disappears. Because here's the truth: a country that controls its own currency can never run out of money the way a household can. It can always print more, and the only real limit is inflation. So, why keep borrowing? Because the system needs movement. If all debt stopped today, the economy would suffocate. It's not about reaching zero debt, it's about managing velocity, keeping money flowing through the pipes of the world economy. When politicians fight over the ceiling, it's not about stopping debt, it's about who gets to spend it first. Chapter 4: How We Repeat the Same Pattern. Here's the irony: we criticize the system, but we live exactly like it. We buy homes we can't afford yet. We swipe cards for lifestyles we haven't earned yet. We borrow against tomorrow's income to feel alive today. And just like nations, we call it progress. But here's the truth: most people don't go into debt because they're stupid. They go into debt because they crave certainty in an uncertain world. Debt gives the illusion of control. It allows comfort now, at the cost of freedom later. And that's not just a financial trait, it's psychological, it's emotional. We inherit the same belief the system runs on: growth is good no matter the cost. But growth without awareness becomes dependency. Chapter 5: Why National Debt is Not What You Think. When people say the US owes $37 trillion, it sounds catastrophic. But most of that debt isn't owed to foreign enemies. It's owed to Americans themselves, through pensions, bonds, and institutions. That means the government's debt is the private sector's asset. For every dollar the government borrows, someone earns a dollar in return. So, yes, the number looks scary. But debt isn't just money owed, it's money circulating, it's energy in motion. What matters isn't how much debt exists, but what that debt creates. If it builds productivity, innovation, and infrastructure, it strengthens the system. If it funds consumption, luxury, and politics, it weakens it. Sound familiar? That's exactly how personal debt works too. Chapter 6: What you should learn from this. So, what does this all mean for you? First, stop fearing debt blindly. Debt in itself is neither evil nor good, it's a tool. And the difference between being enslaved by it and being empowered by it lies in why you use it. Governments borrow to create productivity. You should borrow to create capacity. That could mean using debt to acquire income producing assets, financing education or skills that increase earning power, leveraging debt strategically to buy time and build freedom. But here's the line: if your debt funds consumption, you're owned by it. If your debt funds creation, you own it. You don't need to escape the system, you just need to learn to play it consciously. Because the same rules that build nations can build your net worth if you stop playing emotionally and start playing intelligently. Final truth. So let's be honest, the world will never be debt free. I say it again, the world will never be debt free. Because debt is what keeps the world alive. Every note, every paycheck, every investment traces back to someone's promise to repay. The question isn't, can we end debt? The real question is, who controls it? The rich use debt to grow. The system uses debt to expand. The poor use debt to survive. Debt is neither danger nor salvation. It's simply the mirror reflecting how we handle power, patience, and desire. When you understand that, you stop fearing the headlines and start designing your own system. And that's what I built the Money Mirror Playbook for, to help you see how wealth, psychology, and systems are all connected so you can stop reacting to money and start mastering it on your own terms. It's available now on Shopify, link in description. Because once you understand how money is created, you stop being controlled by it. You become the one creating it. The mirror never lies. The system isn't broken, it's just misunderstood. The question is, now that you see it clearly, what will you do?